Alright. G'day there, ladies and ladies. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Donkey Kong 64 Let's Play. Yeah, it's not good enough. Alright, so let's continue. Let me know if the game volume's a bit too loud or if I need to quieten things down some things, you know. But yeah, we're back on Donkey Kong 64. Just kind of chilling out. We're going to be going into the next zone, the Crystal Caves. So, the best way to go there is, well, perhaps the only way to get there. Well, actually, no. There's a few different ways to get there, but you go from Banana Port number 2, you head over this way. Tiny Kong, Donkey Kong, I want to say Diddy Kong are able to get here a bit easier than Chunky Kong or Monkey Kong. So, here we are with Crystal Caves. It's a very peaceful location, I guess. Except there are definitely moments where there's some more intense parts. Okay, that's not Monkey Kong. But overall, it's not too bad. It's got some difficulty spikes for sure. And it's a bit tedious to get around, but it's not the worst. So we're just using this to get rid of the lava over here. Oh, man. I've got to break gas junkie. There we go. Donkey Kong is immune to the lava. Because if we're not invincible, we die. Bang. So I kind of already know who I want to start it off with. I want to start it off with Chunky Kong. There's a rocker bell. I believe that's just for another hint up there. Sorry about that. I tried to mute myself before the sneeze. I got very loud sneezes, you know. But we got more than 65 bananas and we're not even really trying that much with it. Alright, Crystal Caves. Alright, now I don't know the best pathing for this, because there's usually something I kind of do that's near the end of it, but it's useful if we can get it near the start. So I'll just kind of make a mental note of where we need to go with some of the Kongs as I try and figure this out. I think I gotta play as Chunky for a bit. Open up some ice balls, you know? Okay. Alrighty, off to a good start. So, yeah, let me continue playing as Chunky as I explore around, because there is something that would be great if we can... We'll probably find out in a moment. There we go. Dang it. So, this guy, every now and then, he's going to, you know, whack the ground, causing the Stalactites to start falling onto us. But it also like really disrupts the music. It's also just very annoying overall. So we're going to be trying to destroy him sooner rather than later. Then we can explore around a bit better. You know? Because I don't want to have to deal with it. Luckily we don't need to deal with it while we are in a cave. It's just when we're in the more open area is when we have to deal with it. So this might be the wrong way for it. Well, at the very least we can get Cranky's level upgrades. So for Chunky we get a pad. For Tiny Kong we get a pad. For Winnie Kong we get a barrel. Don't remember if Diddy and Donkey get anything? Because they've already got their barrel and their pad, and their other unique ability. Let me check. I don't think Donkey and Diddy get anything. Yeah. Alright. It's kind of what I expected. But at least Tiny, Oinky, and Chunky get another upgrade. Which is going to be very useful. But yeah, we got so many coins. And we'll go back to Donkey Kong as we are then going to try and find the correct pathing with the boulders and stuff for Chunky, so that we can get rid of that Kosh. Then we can explore the Crystal Caves a lot easier. And it's usually something I kind of do last because I do each individual zone a bit. But I'd like to try and do it first and see how that goes. We don't need these coins. Alright, so let's go over to this side. Yep. Okay, here's our first boulder. just kind of trying to do this quickly. Okay. So that's where we were before. Good enough. Now, do we need a chunky barrel? That's a good question. It's not this one, is it? Where was it? It was over this way, wasn't it? Because it's recent memory. Maybe there's in here. Yeah. Yeah, is there a chunky barrel around? There is. Excellent. So this is step 2. I think I know where that is. That's gonna be this way. Yeah, I'd like to be able to enjoy the music, so we're definitely gonna get rid of that guy, you know? Maybe Chunky didn't need to do this. Maybe it's just Tiny Kong. No! No, we need to do that for Tiny Kong. Excellent. So, now we switch back to Tiny Kong. Go into his pad and destroy the crusher. Then we should be good for the rest of the playthrough. I hope it doesn't reset every time we go into a building. If it does, we might just have to deal with it, but... I don't need those coins. So, Tiny's pad is a teleporter. Crystal, speak to me. Yep. I was trying to figure out like a good title. But how you doing, Space Dog? It's been a bit. Alright. We have defeated him, so there shouldn't be any more music disruptions. Which is great. Because now we can explore the Crystal Caves and actually do it in peace. And yeah, usually I kind of leave that for like near the end. But this time we're doing it near the start, so now we can really explore in peace. Which is great. Okay, welcome to the Crystal Caves, everybody. We are finally here. There's not much to do around here, but well, at least at the moment. But we'll come back to it. Mediosaurus, well, Dino Pickles. I guess Monkey Time is illegal on YouTube. What do you kind of mean by that? I'm curious. Did the stream not be recommended or something, or? Or you think, like, talking about the title? Alright, back to Chunky to showcase his pad. said, oh yeah, monkey time, and it kept blocking my chat, haha. That's weird. I don't know what that is. But Chunky's pad is that he can not exactly go invisible. Well, I mean, kind of go invisible, but it's almost like he goes to a different point of existence. He goes to a higher plane where he can see things that normally can't be seen. But it also means that he can't be seen, even though he's wearing clothes, which is pretty comedic. He de-limbs himself. Yeah, pretty much. Alright. So, now that we've destroyed the kosher, we can explore this cave in peace. So, let's explore around a bit. Don't often get to play Diddy Kong, so let's mess around a bit. Ah yes, here's Candy Kong. Candy will give us all an extra melon, which is great. So now we got 3 health bars instead of just 2, basically. Neat. Very useful. Alright, so let's just explore around a bit, shall we? And we even get a jetpack. Okay, so that's something cute. Excellent. Yeah, there's a tiny out there. One K's got there. That's DK. Alright. So what's up with Wankyong? Yeah, some of these challenges in this level are pretty tough. So I'll try to skip over them, but maybe I'll do it, like give it 1 or 2 tries, just to showcase. But yeah, how is everyone doing today? Ah, yes. So we get to showcase Lunky's new barrel. So now we are super fast Lunky Kong. As it! Got it! Even though the time kicked out, I got it. Nice. Knocking dudes out all morning with Mewtwo X, it's a blast. Yeah, I mean, it is a strong Pokemon for a reason, right? They decided to give a legendary Pokemon a Mega Stone. Not only that, they gave it 2 Mega Stones. And I guess you never know if in the DLC they'll give it a 3rd Mega Stone, am I right? Which is, you know, kind of why I don't particularly like Mega Stones, because, like, they gave Pokemon that are already strong extra strength, you know? Like, I appreciate it, like, for things like Beedrill, make it a bit more viable, you know? And I guess something like, you know, Pidgeot is okay, I guess, but when you're adding it onto things like Lucario and Heracross and stuff like that, it's not really necessary, you know? Hatsune Miku is gonna go insane. Maybe. I take it you're excited for the DLC? Now the question is, what do you actually think is in the DLC? Like, do you think there's gonna be multiple regions? Do you reckon there's gonna be just a city? What are your kind of thoughts on what you're gonna get? In terms of like Pokemon and exploration stuff. And do you reckon the story is going to be decent? Like remember, this is DLC, so it's probably going to be less than the main game in all aspects. I don't have high hopes for it. Oh, this is a fun challenge. So we gotta do some matching. We gotta time it. May as well complete this side. Come on. Saved by the bell. Yeah, like, what are your kind of thoughts on the DLC so far? I brought my Switch 2 to work in 2 hours. Wait, in 2 hours? Okay. I think it will be an ever-changing roguelike on the same map, alternating bosses and events. We only know of 2 of the confirmed boss battles, but they're part of the story. I see. I think it'll be an ever-changing roguelike on the same map. Same map. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it's really gonna be like, but I don't think it's gonna be too much. So, same map sounds about right. Alternating bosses and events. Like, it could be like the Ultra Space Adventures. I know that this is a very loud part of the game, so sorry about that. All I know is I want donuts. You know, if that's enough to get you to buy like $30 DLC, then go for it. Donuts and Darkrai. Fair enough. Alright, yeah, this is gonna be pretty loud, so I'm not gonna talk for the next minute or so. Because I know that this section is pretty loud. That sucked. Alright, let's try it again. Here we go. Yeah, so I think it's gonna be like maybe similar to the Ultra Wormholes and stuff from like what was it? Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Wait. Where's the exit? Oh, you know, like, where maybe, yeah, it is a bit random about what zone you go into, or maybe have, like, access to the entire thing, but it is just limited by your donuts in terms of time. I don't know if it's going to be the entire Lumiose map, and it's just, you know, you got a timer, or if it's going to be like, you know, what donuts you get is depending on like what region you go to, you know, like what part of it you go to. I want to try and get that balloon if possible. Because Crystal Caves and Creepy Castle both a bit more tighter on the bananas. Like it takes a fair amount of bananas to get to the next level. So any chance we can see to get a banana, we should probably take it. Alright. Okay. Now let's circle back. I think the majority of the Kongs have something to do around here. There's DK. Alright, there's Diddy Kong. We got Tony Kong there. May as well get these crystal coconuts, because you never know. There's another Diddy Kong. So, no Monkey Kong, there's Chunky Kong. Everyone but Monkey, but we did Monkey recently, so it's not too bad. So, who to play? Let's go Tiny Kong. what have we got here? Ah, yes. There we go. Just wait for them to all... Before we get that, we're going to get some of these bananas. There's a fair amount here. Yeah, that's at least 20 bananas, which is a good chunk. Excellent. We might as well do these challenges. Although I think one of them is particularly hard. So maybe we won't end up doing it. Yeah, this one's rough. This one's nasty. Alright. Come on, we killed him in time.
That hurts.
He just wasn't dying fast enough. That's why it's a hard challenge. So we're not gonna do that one. But I killed him in time, it's just the timer, you know? But really, it's in 2 hours. Because I've heard like someone yesterday saying it was 2 days. And I know that it's 10th of December for me, but you guys gotta wait a bit, or I don't know, maybe it's maybe I'm getting that wrong. Let me move. Okay, so I think I'm gonna kill him for the GD pad. Yeah, now we get a GD pad. We gotta light the candles with my jetpack, which is pretty cool. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay, making good progress. That was good at 15 bananas. And a banana berry. Excellent. A nice little restock, you know? Okay. So, we've still got DK and Chunky to do here. So this one's a bit of a stealth mission. And guess what? Now we can go invisible. Into this light today. Welcome to bonus stage.
Welcome to bonus stage.
Alright, let's do it. God, where's it? It's not spawning at the bottom. Okay. There we go. Okay.
Well done!
Alright, not too bad. ALB, hello. Also, I just saw you message me first. So, it's going live everywhere is the world at the same time, so I think you're going to get it first since you're ahead actually. Everyone's saying around 9 PM EST, which is about 10 for me. Interesting. Yeah, like, usually when it comes to things like that, it's going to be everywhere at the same, everywhere in the world at the same time. So like, if it's like 3 AM for me, you know, it'll be, you know, like 10 PM for you or something, you know, like, whatever the time zones are, it'll be at a certain time. When it comes to game releases, it is depending, I think, on the country. So yeah, Australia, we get a game about a day before you get to play it, really. But, you know, it's not too big of a deal. But I know that some people like to buy Australian, like, from Australian retailers just so that they can get it a day early. You know, like, if you're really wanting it, but it's not gonna work the same way for downloadable content like that. I love the DK games. Yeah, like, DK has, like, never really been particularly bad. Like, I guess, like, it had some periods where it wasn't exactly doing anything, was it? But, this is one of the games that I think is actually pretty good. Any more homing ammo? Didn't mean for that. Because it's an update patch instead of an actual game release, yeah, so it's going to be, given a time, and then that time will be in your time zone. Alright, so that's like one of 3 occasions where the game kind of wants you to use homing ammo. But theoretically, it's not needed. And so I guess, you know, have fun with the DLC. You know, I'll learn about it in some way, you know, it'll either be someone from the SPC, or I'll watch someone else review. You know, I'll learn about it. Who do I want to play as to swim around a bit? I think Tiny has some underwater bananas. It gave me the DLC for Sword and Shield early, and so about it should work. Fair enough. Cause yeah, like usually with things like DLC stuff, it's yeah, just release globally at the same time. It's just your time zone will dictate when you get it. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, I have no content planned for it. Just gonna show off my Shiny Mega Darkrai when home launches. Fair enough. Yeah, but I'll be able to find other people to watch, either within the SPC or without it, you know? Like, don't take it the wrong way and all that, but I'd like to maybe get an outsider's opinion from the SPC, because the majority of the Small Poke Super Club are a lot of people that really love Pokemon at the moment. And I like to get more outside sources that are more likely to, like, have criticism of it, you know? Because if I ask, like, say, Empress Eevee, is the DLC worth it? She'll be like, yes, 100%, right? If I ask, I don't know, basically anyone in the SPC if it's worth it, they're probably gonna say yes, right? But I would like to get an opinion from elsewhere. You know, search around on the overall internet and see what kind of people are thinking. Come to my own conclusion, you know? I can still ask people about, you know, if they're enjoying it and stuff, which is cool. But I gotta see if the wider audience is, you know, happy with it. If that makes sense. But, in terms of today's actually pretty interesting. Because Australia just passed a new law which bans people under 16 years of age from social media. Which is interesting. How did I miss that? So, there's a decent amount to talk about it. Basically, it's to protect, you know, kids, right? From, like, a lot of the negatives of social media. You know, I think you can kind of imagine what some of the negatives of social media are. And how protecting kids might be part of that. And so, I don't really see an issue with it, but I know that some people are going to have a hard time transitioning to it. That's really wild to me, but I get it. Yeah, so, you know, I guess, like, you know, a random, like, Facebook group, right? And talking to adults, strangers, it can lead to some nasty stuff. You know, I guess there's also the idea of, like, comparing yourself to your friends, right? At that age. And that can lead to a lot of self-doubt and, like, kind of self-hate. You know, those kind of things. And progressing along those lines, it can get pretty serious. So, I think it's interesting. And, you know, given the state of the internet, I don't really blame them, you know? Like, you think of how much, like, brain rot content there is on YouTube as well, you know? How did I miss that? And, you know, I was a bit worried that I would have to, prove that I am over 16, you know? But when it comes to that, there's a few options. A lot of sites should now be asking for some kind of age verification. But I don't think it's enforced to verify like ID or anything, which is good. Like kids can still, so trying to explain it is a bit awkward. I'll try and explain it in steps. So you can still not be signed into, say, YouTube, right, as a kid. If you wanted to access YouTube, you could just not sign in. It means that you won't be able to sub to anyone, I don't think. But I think the idea is that not signing into YouTube is a good step in the right direction. For the kind of purpose of the ban, right? Like, it's not perfect. You can still probably find shady content on if you're not signed in, but at least you're not actively subbing to anything harmful, if that makes sense. And so there are some workarounds. I think of the different social medias, so like, you know, you got Twitter, you got Facebook. I think Blue Sky isn't affected. I think Discord is also not affected, which is crazy because Discord is perhaps like one of the worst spots as a kid. If you've looked into it. You know, like, they really be making, servers for anything nowadays, you know?
Welcome to bonus
I'm
day.
just saying. Yeah, so Discord's fine. Voice Sky's fine. But yeah, for the most part, you can't really go on, Facebook, you can go on Twitter. Well, you can, but the thing is, it's going to be using algorithms to try and figure out what age you are. And if it detects that you are under 16, it's going to ask for ID. So, like, if I search up a bunch of Lego, perhaps, you know, YouTube might be thinking, okay, you're a kid, you gotta prove to me that you're not a kid, so give me some ID, you know, otherwise you can't access it. But, you know, if I'm searching things like, I don't know, World War II documentaries, there's a good chance YouTube doesn't think I'm a kid. And I should clarify that I am not a kid. I do not have to worry about all this. Okay, I was shooting him. But yeah, I was a bit worried that I'd have to have my photo ID on the internet, you know? Like, you never know if it's gonna be a hacking or anything like that. And I get that they already kind of know who I am, maybe. But I don't want to take that chance. Like, I was shooting him. And so,
Welcome to bonus
I'm
day.
curious to see how it goes, and to see what you guys are kind of thinking. Like, would you want that in your own country as well? What it does mean is that the YouTubers that have under 16-year-old content, like viewers, right? They won't be able to get monetized by that crowd of Australian kids. You know, you'll still get like American or Canadian, right? But you won't get the Australian kid revenue. And so, I guess it's something. I was shooting them. So I guess it's something to keep an eye out if you have a bunch of
Welcome to
kids as
bonus
your
stage.
audience, that you won't be getting the Australian kid revenue anymore. So I hope you weren't counting on that, you know? But yeah, would you want a similar kind of ban in your country? Tell me why or why not. I'm curious, you know?
Welcome to bonus stage.
There we go. Bit harder than expected, but we got there.
Oh, banana. Yeah.
Right. Now let's play as Monkey Kong for a bit. Get these bananas and that bonus stage. Yeah, maybe not the bonus stage, but we can at least play as Diddy Kong. Alright. Anything around is there? But yeah, in terms of your content mini source, I don't think it's any brain rot. I think it's pretty fun. You know? You could be doing a lot worse. Right. So this one we gotta find the correct barrels and do it in order 1 to 5. 1, 2. That's 4. 6. There we go. But yeah, like, what are you guys kind of thinking about the social media ban? Like, do you think it's a good idea? Or think it should be changed pretty quickly? There we go. Ah, yes, it's a challenge. This one's a bit interesting. There you go. You have to kind of do it just before, because, you know, it takes a bit of wind up with the slam. Oh, another fairy. Okay. Next Kong. Where's Chunky Kong? I'll go up and get that blueprint a bit later. Had to pop over and say hi to Shay. What did I miss? I was still talking about the social media ban a bit. But for the most part, well, he's dead. Oh, maybe he's got like 2 eyes or something. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just trying to ask like what you kind of think of the idea of the ban, you know? Are you against it? Would you like it in your country? You know? Like, what are your kind of thoughts? Excellent. We're doing pretty good in terms of overall bananas. We are getting kind of close to finishing up the level. Neat. So we'll play Zombie to get these bananas, but I do not think we're going to be doing a challenge here. Because the challenge here for Donkey Kong is brutal. Okay, I always view kids losing access to something I had access to as a kid as a form of regression. I'm pretty strict on it. I only stopped eating McDonald's because they took away the play place. Interesting. Yes, I don't really know too much about what you mean by the McDonald's, but there hasn't really been a playground. I mean, there's been a few of them that have a playground, but some of them, they're not really a playground, are they? So I'll go in here to showcase why this challenge is hard, but it is interesting that you think it's a regression though. Because like, the internet has changed a lot, I think, since when we were kids. You know, like, think about like what you did as a kid, and then, you know, has that changed for the better or for the worst? You know, like, it's a lot easier for people to meet now, and interact. So the idea of this challenge is the maze does a lot of damage, and we gotta go for it to try and get to the center. Okay, we did not normally get that first try. That's actually a really good attempt. Normally that takes me like forever to do. But I think we did miss a banana there. Yeah, whatever, I'm not too worried. Where I grew up, we didn't have a lot of safe places for kids to be and public in the city. Almost every safe haven I had access to is gone. They're erasing too much for safety. Yeah, I think I get you. It does suck about the safety, I guess. Oh no, we got all the bananas. Great. So when you go out, we didn't have a lot of safe places for kids to be on this point. Okay, so it's gotten worse, which is not great. Yeah, I guess like things have really changed, right? Perhaps people are more likely to be violent, or like, I guess like, has the crime rate gone up or has it gone down? That's the main thing, right? Because, you know, things like crime really dictate kind of policy, you know? If you got a bunch of crime, you know, maybe it's time to become Batman and start bending some kneecaps. But, you know, if it's, you know, pretty chill, then I guess you got nothing to worry about, right? So, less areas for kids to be out in public could be because of higher crime rate. And then higher crime rate, that comes from a few different factors. It's mostly related to economy, like economic reasons. You know, like when people, because I like to imagine that people tend to be honest, right? But some people feel like they've been given a bad hand, and so feel like they are entitled to other things, you know? So, things like theft, you know? Kind of comes from that. People are allowed to be violent with little to no repercussion. When I was a kid, violent offenders were kept in jail, not released 19 times for good behaviour, free to walk about. Yeah. It does feel like they get off pretty easy nowadays, doesn't it? You know? It used to be that jail was something that you kind of feared, but now it's more like a minor inconvenience. Like, I will say though that it is, in a way, reasonable. I say in a way very loosely though, but theoretically, right, the goal of the jail, right, is to make them realize their mistakes and so that they can eventually come back as part of society, right? If the end goal wasn't for them to come back as part of society, they would just be killed, right? They'd be given a death sentence or, you know, executed or whatever, right? But the end goal is that hopefully one day they can go back into society. You know? And so, I guess part of that process is that at some point, we gotta forgive them. Now, we don't have to give them immediately, right? And it can take a long time. It can even, like, never particularly happen. But, there does need to be a point where you gotta think about maybe forgiving someone. Now, what I recommend is always practice humility and practice forgiveness. If they are truly sorry, if they are truly sorry for what they did, right? They can't do anything else to really help you out. Like, sorry, wrong word. Like if they are like, please, there's nothing else I can really do. I am so sorry. I feel so guilty about it, right? They're on their hands and knees begging for forgiveness. They really feel bad about it. Then, you know, them practicing humility means that you gotta practice forgiveness. You know, if they don't feel sorry for it, you know, or if they don't really, you know, convey that they are sorry about it, then you don't have to forgive them. But if they are truly wanting forgiveness, right, I think it is only fair to forgive them. If that makes sense. So, I guess I can understand the idea of them getting off a bit easier, but it does feel like, for the most part, it is the people with higher wallets that are able to get out a bit easier, you know? It's not from actual rehabilitation, if that makes sense. You know, they're not truly sorry, they're just paying a fee to get out. That I don't feel good with, but, you know, if people are truly, like, you know, sorry for what they've done, you know, I think it's only fair to forgive them. I hope that makes sense. I know it might sound weird, you know, but that's kind of my mentality of it, right? Like, let's say you're in prison, right? Either, you know, correctly so or wrongly accused or whatever, right? You get out. You want to try and find a job. You gotta tell them that, hey, maybe you've been in jail before, right? And, you know, most people would be like, alright, let's not hire someone that's been in jail. But, like, they're trying to go back into society, right? So I feel like it's only fair to give them a fair shot. You know? I'm not saying that, you know, I am from jail or anything and I'm trying to speak for myself or anything, but the whole idea of jail is to get them somehow back into society, right? And if we as people of that society are not willing to let them join back in, then we're not exactly doing our part. Forgiveness is fine, I can forgive, but if I forgive, then it happens 7 more times, I'm gonna start to forgive. Yeah, like, that's the thing, right? Like, you can forgive someone, but they do it again. And it can be a very vicious cycle and it doesn't benefit you, which is very rough. So I guess you gotta really pick and choose who you gotta give forgiveness to. You know? Have extra steps to make sure that they are actually working towards bettering themselves. You know, like if someone's like, you know what, I'm gonna gamble all my money, can I ask for more money? I'll gamble your money away, you know. You gotta either say, like, flat out no, you have not practiced enough humility, so I will not practice forgiveness. Or maybe be like, okay, but I need to be there when you gamble to stop, or something. Like, there needs to be some extra measure, I guess. Alright, let's do this. We gotta get as many as possible. Ah, do not move for that. It would be great if I didn't turn over one of my own tiles for him. Is that a win? Oh. What if it's that one guy from Full Metal Alchemist that makes the Chimera out, if he's still, yeah, Dwarfkin. So, yeah, I haven't seen that, but does he ever truly feel sorry for that? I know that in the moment he's probably, like, you know, happy, right? That he's like, I think he's like doing it for some kind of prize or title, right? I know he's excited about that. But does he ever feel sorry for that? Also, in that universe, is that illegal? Or is it okay? Because that helps dictate, you know? It's not really fair for us to apply our own morality into a fantasy world, you know? If it's legal to kill a guy for stealing a cookie, you know, it's, you know, we can't really judge them for that. Very legal, and not even sort of. Yeah, so if they do not practice humility, you do not practice forgiveness. It's simple as that. You cannot forgive someone that doesn't humble themselves, I guess. You know, they gotta... So I guess humility is a part of, like, accepting that you did something wrong. If they do not do that, then you can't really forgive them. Alright, let's try this again. Maybe I'll let him hit the new tiles. Meanwhile, I hit his tiles. This is looking a lot better. Much better. Most of the bad guys in Fullmetal Alchemist have totally twisted morals intentionally because the plot is redemption for the main characters. Ah, okay. Yeah. But yeah, like, you know, if a villain doesn't have any kind of regret, right, then you don't need to forgive them. But if they are having regret and they're, like, I guess depending on the crime, right, like, they gotta either really promise not to ever do it again, or, you know, start making, repents for what they've done. You know, like, if I say kill someone, right, I can feel guilty about it, but if I truly feel guilty about it, maybe I start, like, you know, donating to charity, you know, maybe I start, you know, maybe I start going to a soup kitchen or something. Like, if you really feel guilty about it, you will find ways to try to soothe your soul. But at the end of the day, right, you can only forgive yourself so much, and it helps to have someone else forgive you. So you gotta decide when is a correct, like, what is a good enough kind of emotional punishment. You know, like, what can they possibly do that would make you feel better? And if the answer is not much, then I guess you don't have to forgive. But if you have something in mind about what they can do for you to forgive them, then if they do that, I think it's only fair that you forgive them. Okay, we're not supposed to be walking here, we're supposed to be sliding. So this is a bit of a glitch. There we go. Now, I kind of hate this race. Come on, like young. I'll read your message soon. No! What happened there? Okay, we'll restart that. I forgive Cynthia for the childhood trauma. Yeah. And hello, that show. Fun stuff. Yeah, the beetle is pretty nasty. Like, it's pretty fun, but it's pretty hard. Okay, this time we're doing it correctly and we're not just walking here. Get him, boy! No! It's a really hard challenge, but I kind of want to do this before we wrap up Crystal Caves. Because I think it is pretty enjoyable overall. Let's do it. Come on, like, come on. Not only do we need to get first place, but we need to get 50 coins. Like, what am I supposed to do about that? I don't think it actually started sound, but it was a funny little glitch. Okay, we're halfway in terms of coins. Beetle King Rage Bait, something like that. Is very annoying. Okay. Opwa! Can I get an Opwa in chat? Opwa! Come on. Yes, we're doing good, we're doing good. Slow down. Turn. Opwa! Alright, that wasn't too bad. It was a bit intense there, as we're right in front of the beetle. But it was pretty good. Opwa. Opwa. Alright, so I think we're good enough to go, although there's a little bit more of this Tiny Kong we can kind of do. I'm kind of forgotten about it. Also, I guess we can go check out what Funky Kong's got for sale. I think it's just ammo. Yeah, so now we got 200 max ammo, so the thing is that you don't really need ammo in this game. Like, you don't need too much of it. Yeah, so we can go Tiny Kong here. Opla? I think it's a P, like Opla. O-P-L-A. Opla. But I appreciate it. Yeah, so there was a stalagmite, or like a pillar, with a banana port 4. And this is why, because this is how you get the blueprint for Diddy Kong here. I mean, it's not necessary. It's gonna be a decent amount of work to get to it. So, we might just go to Chop and Skull and see if we can go through it. It's obviously stuff that we are missing, but yeah, we don't really need everything. Now, where's the best Chop and Skull portal? I think there's one near Snide. Yeah. Alright, let's go see if we have enough bananas. We should, because, like, we don't need to perfect it. It might be around 400. Oh, 350, easy. Between our 5 Kongs, you know, we definitely got enough. I think the last stage Creepy Castle has about a 450 mark, which means that each Kong needs an average of 90 bananas. But you know, we got most of the bananas on this stage, so we're pretty good. But what I really liked about that Crystal Caves playthrough is that we, defeated the Kosher early, so we didn't need to worry about him interrupting all the time. I feel like that made Crystal Caves a lot more enjoyable. Because usually it's a bit more stressful and annoying, especially if, say, Donkey Kong inflating, right? Because if you get hit while, a balloon, you get popped, basically, and it really disrupts the gameplay. You don't get killed or anything, but, you get knocked around a bit, and it's very annoying. And so not having to worry about that was really good. Yeah, we got more than enough. We still got one final Kong. We got Donkey Kong with a perfect score. Alright. Donkey Kong. I like this boss. I like the music, I like the kind of gameplay. I think it's pretty fun. So, these Kremlings are working on some kind of machine. What could it be? That's a cannon. A bit familiar. That shell's looking a bit familiar though. That's right, it's a rematch against Armadillo. I love that laugh. I know that the music might be a bit loud, so I apologize for that. It's pretty fun. But yeah, we got a rematch against Armadillo. We battled this guy in the first level. What's he doing now? Changing his cannons to thrusters as he's going up. I love Armadillo sounds. When he gets hit, it's so fun. If I did a Twitch and I had sub sounds or whatever, I think Armadillo might be one of them. I like or I think it's pretty fun. It's so fun. Alright, he's lost his cannon, so he's still in the fight, which is character growth. We call that in the business character development. It's amazing how this whole game is only 64 megabytes, while current games are over 100 gigabytes easily. I know, right? You think of how small games were back in the day, and how big they are now, and it's what are they doing? Which of the bosses from this game is my favourite? Mad Jack. Mad Jack is definitely my favourite. Really fun gameplay, good challenge, a creepy aesthetic, and tense music. I don't think there's anything bad about it, without having this out. There we go. I would have liked another stage on that final part with the homing missile. You know, like that whole sequence again. I would have liked another little stage about that, but overall, that was a pretty enjoyable boss battle. You know? But yeah, Mad Jack from Brand New Factory is definitely my favourite. Like, just the kind of visual of a little monkey girl twirling away from a big Jack in the Box. It's so far out there, but it's pretty awesome.
Okay.
You know, I think it's pretty enjoyable. Alright. We have cleared Crystal Caves, which means we only have one more main level to go for. We'll go ahead and put this key into K-Ramsey's cage. See kind of what happens with that. I guess we should have taken the banana port. I hated the boss for Lankyong. Yeah, it is pretty annoying given the controls. And some of the attacks are pretty brutal. But I kind of like it, you know, like it's different enough to, like, Donkey, Diddy, and Chunky are all about, you know, dodging the attacks and throwing about, right? I kind of like that Lankyong's is a bit different to that. You know, I guess same thing with Tiny Kong, right? Tiny Kong was different to dodging attacks and throwing barrels. And Lankyong is also different in a way. So I kind of like that. But yeah, the controls and some of the attacks are pretty brutal. You know, we do have a bit of time. Let me just check. We do not have enough banana medals to do Cranky's challenge, but we will 100% get there from Creepy Castle because it's impossible to get 450 bananas without getting 75 for at least one Kong. So, that's going to be it for today's stream of Donkey Kong 64. Tomorrow I will be continuing my Nature's Madness run. The fish thing, yeah, Puff Toss. Yeah, it's pretty, you know, it is pretty annoying with the attacks and the controls, but I think it isn't too bad. Like, I'd say that maybe like Donkey Kong's first round against Armadillo is a good introduction boss. I feel like Diddy Kong doesn't do much to differentiate it. It is pretty much just dodge the attacks, but in a different way. If anything, you don't need to worry about Dogadon coming after you. Like, you need to watch out for Armadillo rolling over you, but you don't really need to do that with Dogadon. So I'd argue that Diddy Kong is perhaps the least interesting boss. Chunky Kong's version of it is a lot better. It's got like more interesting attacks, it's a bit more tense with the sinking stage and stuff. But yeah, so I don't mind Puff Toss because it's different enough. It would be great if it had some things from Donkey Kong's kit, like you know, maybe he had to sprint around on his hands a bit, or inflate like a balloon or something, but can't complain too much. Okay. So that is going to do it for today's stream. I would like to thank everyone for watching. I know we talked about some interesting things today. We talked about social media ban, we talked about forgiving people, you know. A bit wild for a Donkey Kong stream, but you know, that's kind of the beauty of these streams. You never know what you're going to get out of talking in chat, you know. So yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Tune in tomorrow for more Nature's Madness. And I hope everyone has a good day, and I'll see you guys later.